Good morning, and we are back. I'm John Gordon, substituting for John Fredericks, who's on a plane to Israel right now, attending a conference there. I'm sure we'll be hearing from him very soon. And I wouldn't want to go to Israel. They're at war. I mean, I admire John and his courage for going into the hotbed of the world right now. But is it any worse than in New York City? I mean, I've spent a lot of time in New York City. I visited the location of all the illegals at New York's luxury hotel right across the street from Grand Central Station a little over a year ago. I interviewed immigrants there. I interviewed store owners surrounding that hotel, and then I walked back to my hotel about 7 or 8 blocks. And as I was walking back, I encountered so many homeless people, and a good third of them were veterans living without shelter, living without clothing, food, or the bare necessities of life. Yet we were housing, and continue to, at the Roosevelt Hotel, illegal immigrants into our country. How can they do it? I mean, do they not have a conscience? When they wake up and look at themselves in the mirror, how can they live with themselves knowing that they're using taxpayer money to conduct governmental actions that nobody wants, that really are an affront to the laws of our nation and a violation of the oath that they have taken to protect the Constitution of the United States? I just don't see how they can live with themselves. And the consequence is that people who have served our military and put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms are living homeless on the streets of New York, proximate to the Roosevelt Hotel, where illegals are living with free food, free shelter, free scooters, and spending money and cell phones to ride around and cruise the streets of New York. It is just so wrong. And it was done because Obama wants to change the fabric of America. Well, to hell with you, Obama. You need to be in jail. There's something like 600 million missing during his administration from the Defense Department that disappeared in Africa. I don't have facts. I don't have intimate knowledge of where that money went. But the innuendo, the gossip is certainly out there. Is it in a Swiss bank account somewhere? In a foreign bank account somewhere? I don't know. And it's probably not right for me to even go there because I lack facts. But what I do know is that these people have worked to destroy our country as we know it. And the American people have spoken. They've spoken loudly. 76 million people voted for Donald Trump. We want change. And we want it right now on the streets of New York, where just yesterday, the CEO of United Healthcare was assassinated outside the New York Hilton Hotel, where I've stayed before. Here's a clip.
The man pulling out a gun equipped with a silencer just after 6:45 yesterday morning. Meantime, police are releasing these images of the man, showing him at a Starbucks in Midtown wearing all black and carrying that distinctive backpack we've talked about.
This is a shocking video. That this assassin gunned down the CEO of United Healthcare on the streets of New York, killing him in cold blood, shooting him from behind, which is the only silver lining I can find. Thank God that he didn't have to watch the bullet careening toward him. I mean, this is third world country stuff. This doesn't happen in America. But here it happened at 7 o'clock in the morning on the streets of New York. The belief is, and his wife was interviewed, and she said that they had received threats. He knew he had the goods on somebody. And I believe that the feds were talking to him. We will learn what this is about in time. But it is shocking and it's chilling and it's not supposed to happen in our country. It was a planned attack conducted on the streets. And you can see the assassin's eyes. They've got him on security cameras. Somebody knows who this is. Get on the phone and call the FBI and tell them if you recognize him or you know who he is. This lawlessness cannot happen in America. So Pete Hegseth, the knives are out. The deep state is coming after him. And the mainstream media, the paid mouthpieces for our government, I don't know who in the government does all this stuff. It's the deep state. We know that that's Comey. We know it's Brennan. We know it's Obama. We know it's Clinton's. And they are waging war against the American people because Donald Trump, as I said, got 76 million votes. He should be able to pick his cabinet. Oh, no, not Pete Hegseth. No, he has a drinking problem. And he raped a girl in a hotel in California a number of years ago. And he's behaved inappropriately around women. They don't tell you that he's 44 years old, has a net worth of $6 million, stands 6 feet tall, has a beautiful wife, Jennifer, 2 children, and attended Harvard, Princeton, Forest Lake Area High School, and served his country after exiting college, when he could have just waltzed his way onto Wall Street and made tens of millions of dollars. But what did Pete Hegseth do instead? He volunteered for the military, and he volunteered to serve in Iraq twice in combat, and he volunteered to serve his country in the military in Afghanistan. And then he came back, a decorated war hero, and went to work for Fox News, where he worked on the weekends, and I enjoyed watching him. He has a spirit about him that is infectious. He's an honorable person, I believe. And these anonymous sources. I mean, whatever happened with the notion of being able to confront your accusers? Why are they always with anonymous sources? I think that anonymous sources should be immediately, automatically discounted. But Pete Hegseth is being Kavanaugh'd right in front of us. And it looked like 24 hours ago that there may be a substitution and that DeSantis might be asked to step in as Secretary of Defense. But then Hegseth met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump said, I've been where you are. We're not going to back down. We're not going to cower. I've got your back. Go out and fight. We're not going to let the swamp steamroll over us anymore. We're not going to allow them to discredit a decorated veteran of our military who wants to go rid the Department of Defense of DEI, of all of the wokeness that infects that institution. No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to cower to them anymore. Sarah from Fredericksburg, Virginia is on the line. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
On the notion of it not happening in New York City with the man who was shot, now you got to remember, John Lennon, same type of thing. It was a targeted assassination.
Yeah, there's no question. John Lennon was gunned down at the Dakota, walking distance from the New York Hilton. I think there were two very different things. I think in John Lennon's case, you had a deranged fan, right? Who I don't know how his mind worked or why he wanted to kill John Lennon, one of the greatest musicians to ever walk the earth. But in this case, the CEO of United Healthcare, it was obviously a hit. It was an assassination. And the belief is that the CEO of United Healthcare had information about insider trading and that he was going to rat out someone, and so they eliminated him. That was
the first time today that I heard that, so that's good to know.
Well, that's the supposition. That's the belief. His wife was interviewed immediately after her husband died, and she cut the interview short, saying that she had to go console her children. Can you imagine being in her shoes? Can you imagine being in her children's shoes? It's painful to me. It's really painful when you stop and think about the demonic nature of this. But they've got the guy on camera. They've got a picture of him in his hoodie and his mask, but his eyes are very apparent. And we can see his build. We can see his stature. He was a white guy. So, you know, how many white guys are there in a black hoodie roaming the streets of New York? And he's going to be, they've already got him on multitudes of security cameras. They had him on a camera in Starbucks. They're going to catch up with this guy, I think, in reasonably short order.
But there's plenty of people who are willing to be paid for that sort of thing in Antifa and, well, the FBI. That's supposition also.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for calling, and I appreciate the call, and I wish you a joyous and happy holiday season, and that you have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's with you and your family.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Jeff is on the line. He's calling us from Middletown, Ohio. Jeff, where is Middletown?
Just between Cincinnati and Dayton, and it's the hometown of our vice president-to-be, J.D. Vance.
Exactly. And I am a Buckeye. I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and I grew up until the age of 5 in Mount Gilead, Ohio. When we left in 1959, there were 5,000 people there. Today, there are 5,000 people there, and I go back about twice a year because I have relatives there. I also have some property there on 71, which is the main artery between Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland. I love Ohio. I love the Buckeye State, and I've got some people that work for me on that property, and they told me that this morning it is a very uncomfortable and chilly 17 degrees, I believe, with a foot of snow on the ground.
Well, Middletown, Ohio right now, we're at 17 degrees with no snow, thank goodness. But, we the snow it missed us, but we got the cold. But Middletown's a great little town. It's, Armco Steel is right here in Middletown. It's now Cliffs. It's been sold 2 or 3 times, but my dad, grandpa, all kinds of relatives have made a great living, a great life, through the steel industry. And, it's still kicking. And like I said, J.D. Vance is from Middletown. He actually went to Preble, Shawnee, a few miles from where I live. I live out in West Middletown. But J.D. as a kid went to Preble, Shawnee, but then he ended up going to Middletown. But, I want to comment on, I hope Pete doesn't step down, and I hope Trump truly stands behind him, because I don't trust the Republican senators as much as I can look at them, and that goes for about most of them. They like to say a lot, text a lot, but do nothing. And I'm one of them guys. Trump, when the first term, promised a lot of things, and he did exactly what he said, and that's why I support President Trump. I back President Trump, and I call myself MAGA Jeff, and proudly say that because the Republican Party left me, and the MAGA movement is real, and I hope Pete does not step down. Make these senators vote. I want them to vote. John Cornyn's up for re-election. Collins is up for we got quite a few up for re-election in 2 years, and I'm already hearing about primary challenges for John Cornyn with Ken Paxton. I hope that's true and real, and I'll donate to Ken Paxton if he does that. But if they're going to keep doing what they did to Matt Gaetz, if Pete drops out, who's next? They're going to go after the next Tulsi.
Well, probably Kash Patel would be my guess, because I've said for a year that Trump is not a threat to democracy. Trump is a threat to bureaucracy. And that's what we're seeing with all of these nominees: Hegseth, Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They are people who have been victimized by the very agencies that they're now called to lead. And I can't wait. It's a new day in America. It is a great day in America. It is a wonderful day to be alive in America. And thank you, Jeff from Middletown, Ohio, for calling us this morning. We'll be back right after this break. Stay with us. We've got a lot more to cover.